We've all seen those villains who just, want to take over the world. But what about the ones who want to unmake it entirely? Today, we're going way beyond simple good versus evil. We're going to dive deep into the characters who represent something darker, something way more terrifying. And hey, this isn't some top 10 list. It's a real analysis of the philosophy behind fictional evil.
So, that brings up a really big question. Are all villains created equal? And the answer is a hard, definite no. There's a huge difference between a mastermind who can dismantle your entire psyche with just a whisper and, say, some ancient being whose very existence is a threat to reality itself. We're going to explore those differences right now.
All right, first up, we have what I like to call the architects of ruin. This category of evil is, well, it's maybe the most insidious. These aren't your typical brutes, they're puppet masters. They can absolutely shatter your life, your sanity, your whole sense of who you are, all without ever laying a single hand on you. Their weapon? It's your own mind.
And our first exhibit is Johann Liebert from the anime Monster. This guy is the product of a truly horrific secret experiment called Kinderheim 511, which was trying to create these emotionless super soldiers. But Johann, he became something else. He's like a void, walking around in human form, a man who can literally talk anyone into committing any atrocity, even their own suicide. His goal isn't money or power. It's this chillingly nihilistic quest for what he calls the perfect suicide, to completely erase himself from existence just to prove that none of it ever mattered.
You can really boil down his entire philosophy to his own words. Only one thing's equal for all, and that is death. That's the core of his belief system, right there. To him, every value, every hope, every single life, it's all just a temporary illusion. The only thing that's real is the finality of death.
Now let's contrast that quiet horror with the flamboyant cruelty of Dr. Hannibal Lecter. He is so much more than a cannibal. He's a brilliant psychiatrist who has turned therapy into a weapon. Even when he's locked behind glass, he's dissecting people's minds, trading these crucial clues for Clarice Starling's deepest, most painful traumas. And his escape? It is the absolute stuff of nightmares, a testament to his horrifying genius, just walking out disguised in the face of his own victim.
So what's the real difference between these two master manipulators? Well, Liebert's evil is all about subtraction. His goal is erasure, to prove that everything is meaningless by reducing it all to zero. But Lecter's evil? That's all about addition. He finds this perverse, twisted joy in his own intellect and his sadism, treating psychological torture like it's a fine art. It's the horror of the void versus the horror of a monstrous ego.
Okay, so from the architects of psychological ruin, we're going to move to something way more primal. These next characters, they aren't just evil individuals. They're unstoppable forces. They're what happens when you take an abstract concept like fate or war and give it a human face and a weapon.
Just think about Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. Calling him a hitman is a massive understatement. He's more like a walking, talking embodiment of consequence. He doesn't kill because he's angry or greedy. He kills because his own twisted principles demand it. He literally reduces the profound decision of life or death down to a simple coin toss. Not because he's random, but because he truly sees himself as nothing more than an instrument of fate.
He doesn't even see it as a threat. It's just a simple statement of fact. It's just that tails usually means you're dead. In his head, he's not the one making the choice. Nope, he's just a messenger, delivering a verdict that's already been decided.
But what if that force of nature isn't indifferent? What if it's actively, joyfully evil? That brings us to Judge Holden from Blood Meridian, easily one of literature's most terrifying creations. He's a total paradox, a brilliant scholar who can debate science and philosophy with the best of them, but who is also, apparently, an immortal agent of pure chaos. For him, war isn't just a job, it's a sacrament. He doesn't just commit violence, he preaches it like it's a sacred creed. And his own words just cement this mythic status he has. He never sleeps and that he will never die. He's not just claiming to be some tough guy. He's claiming to be an eternal, unwavering principle of war itself.
The difference between these two is absolutely crucial. Chigurh is a moral feat. He's detached and unfeeling tool of consequence. Judge Holden, on the other hand, is eternal malevolence. He is passionately, diabolically engaged in destruction, and he finds deep meaning, even joy, in the act of war.
Not all monsters are born that way.
Our next archetype explores the fallen from grace. These are characters who actually started with hope, but were twisted by trauma, betrayal, and ambition into something truly terrifying.
And maybe the ultimate example of this is Griffith from Berserk. His journey is just this devastating downward spiral. He starts as this magnetic, brilliant leader of a mercenary band, a man who seems destined for greatness. But after a year of unspeakable torture leaves him completely shattered, he's faced with a demonic choice. During a ceremony called the Eclipse, he sacrifices every single one of his loyal friends to be reborn as the godlike being Femto, finally achieving his dream, but at the cost of his own humanity.
And that moment of ultimate betrayal, it's all boiled down into a single, chilling phrase, I sacrifice. With just those two words, he condemns the family he built to an eternity of torment and trades his soul for a kingdom. Another tragic fall is the story of Alucard from Hellsing. He wasn't always a monster. He was once Vlad the Impaler, a mortal warlord. But at the very moment of his execution, in one final act of pure defiance, he drank the blood of the battlefield and was reborn as a vampire. Now, after centuries of undeath, he exists as something beyond life itself, a monster created by humanity, now being used to hunt other monsters.
And oh, does he revel in his monstrous nature? He's cruel, he's sadistic, and he takes this immense pleasure in the terror of his enemies. I want to hear you squeal like a pig. That's the glee of a being who has lost everything and now finds purpose only in the chaos of battle.
Our final category, well, it might be the most frightening because it's the least human. Cosmic chaos incarnate. These beings, they don't have a backstory, no trauma, no complex philosophy. They are just evil as a force of nature. Pure, abstract, and absolute.
Just look at Kid Buu from Dragon Ball Z. The moment he reverts to his original primal form, his actions are immediate and absolute. His very first move is to just obliterate planet Earth. No speech, no grand declaration, just instant destruction. And when that's done, he immediately teleports to the afterlife to keep destroying. He's just pure, unthinking annihilation. And his motivation is as simple and terrifying as his actions. When he's asked what he's doing, his response is, "Me too, kill you." There's no grand plan. There's only the instinct to destroy.
Now, what if that chaos wasn't mindless, but was actually intelligent and gleefully sadistic? Well, then you get Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls. He's an interdimensional dream demon who deals in souls and absolutely delights in psychological torture. His goal isn't conquest. It's an event he calls Weirdmageddon. He wants to smash his reality and our reality together, breaking the laws of physics and sanity itself, and he wants to do it all just for a laugh.
So the contrast between these two is really the difference between instinct and intellect. Kid Buu is mindless annihilation, pure brute force driven by instinct. Bill Cipher is sadistic chaos, using manipulation and reality warping for his own cosmic amusement. One is like a destructive hurricane, the other is like a sentient, malicious virus that's rewriting the source code of reality itself.
So we've seen evil that manipulates, evil that philosophizes, evil born from tragedy, and evil that just is. And it brings up one final crucial question. Why do we keep telling these stories? Why are we so fascinated by these explorations of darkness?
You know, maybe it's because these characters are our fears made real. They are the ultimate what-if scenarios, played out to their most horrifying conclusions. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Who is your favorite villain, and what does that choice say about the kind of darkness you find the most compelling?